I'm here with Steve Hoover. Steve, thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
You know, Blood Brother, extraordinary documentary. It's about your friend Rocky who ends up going to India after what it seems like a life pursuit of many travels. Tell me a little bit about your connection with Rocky.
So Rocky and I had initially met in school. I was getting on the elevator one day. We lived on the same floor in the dorms, and he just kind of introduced himself to me, and we quickly became friends. I always tell people that Rocky was kind of intrusive. I was more of an introvert, and he just made effort to be my friend and spend time with me, and which was great. And that was kind of the beginning of a long friendship. Rocky and I had gone through a lot together in school. Gone through a lot of changes together, and really grew together. And eventually we ended up getting an apartment, and we were roommates for about 7.5 years in that apartment. And the month I got married is actually the month that Rocky made his final move to India, so our paths kind of split. And,
the title of your film is Blood Brother, so there is a deep connection with him beyond just a friend, a dorm room buddy that you had during college. What made that connection click? Just was it, separated at birth basically, and you guys were just good friends? Was you follow him to India a few times?
No, I just think, Rocky and I have a special friendship. I think it's deeper than a lot of friendships, and I don't know if it kind of started that way. There was something that we just liked each other, we respected each other, and like I said, we had gone through so many changes together that I think those events and just really helped to forge true, deep friendship. And we have an incredible amount of trust for one another, and we just sort of know each other completely inside and out, and we've been emotionally supportive of one another for a long time. Even with him going to India, sometimes distance really erodes at friendships, but it didn't for us. And we sort of just have this commitment to one another that we're going to be in each other's lives no matter what happens.
That's fantastic, because you had mentioned that he had taken different trips throughout his life, and then this one became his final trip. Mm-hmm. It seems like he really found home in India. Tell me about when he called you and said, "I'm staying, I'm not going back. This is the place I belong." What was that initial conversation like?
Well, the initial conversation was actually eye to eye. His first trip to India this is some detail that I wish fit into the film, but I couldn't get him to tell it clearly. He bought a one-way ticket with a friend, and someone suggested they check out the orphanage while they were there. And they went, and they actually hated it. They hated India, they hated the orphanage, and they wanted to leave. So they booked one-way tickets they booked flights to Australia because they said they were just going to go spend the summer on the beach. And on their way to the airport on the train, Rocky said he was overcome with a feeling that he was making a mistake, and so he asked Jay, his friend, would you cancel the flights and come back with me? He's like, I just feel like we need to go back. So they did, and they ended up spending the rest of the summer there. And I was surprised by that because I wasn't expecting him to be gone for 3 months. We had bills and all these other shared responsibilities, and when he told me that, I was like, okay, well, he did buy a one-way ticket, 3 months, okay, I get it. But when he came back, he sort of was glowing, I guess. He just seemed like he wasn't there, and he shared with me, I'm going to move to India. I met these kids. He broke down the story, and that was kind of it. I wasn't sure how to take it because Rocky had almost moved a handful of times. He almost moved to Alaska. He moved to LA for a little bit. He lived on the road with his uncle, and he was always just kind of trying to find a place where he fit. He lived in Arizona for a while as well, being a graphic designer for a magazine. So I just was ready to throw that one on the pile, and figured he'll be back. And then after a year and a half, he hadn't been back. So at that point, it was kind of like, all right, this is a little different, and there's something I'm kind of missing here.
When you spoke to him, because you get through the movie that you're good friends. You go and visit with him, and you are there during troubled times. We know that there are intimate conversations. What were some of the feelings, some of the things that he conveyed to you that didn't get into the film about his love for India? The children, the orphanage, the struggle. Did he find his place? What was something that didn't quite make it in the film in regards to why he stayed?
I don't know. I really tried my best to convey why I felt that, why he did stay. And it was, and I feel like the film kind of ends with that thought that, he doesn't feel like he can abandon them. He's made such a strong commitment to them, and he understands that that commitment is real, and it's not a flippant, thing that he just said to them. And he said before, he's actually told us when we went to visit, don't make promises to the kids. He said, if you don't say you're going to come back if you're not. Don't promise them that you'll do this. Because he watched people, even his friends that would come visit, they would get affected by the kids and make promises. I'll be back in a year. And then they wouldn't come back. And he said, you can't do that to them. It's like, given all their history and everything, he knows them well, and he knows how much that devastates them, because they hold on to the promises. And so basically, he gets that, and the relationships are really valuable to him, and also, he understands that his relationship is valuable to them. So it's just, it's like leaving family at this point, and I really tried to end the film with that. I feel like, that is the thing that keeps him there. That without that, I think he would have left a long time ago. It's a commitment and a promise he made to the kids that he plans to honor. Right. And then by the time new kids come in, he builds relationships with them. He doesn't neglect them. So it's kind of going to be an ongoing process.
Throughout the film, you see, you focus on certain children that, their illnesses progress all the way to death, and other ones that recover. How is that roller coaster ride for him today? Has he gotten a little more used to it? Is this just something that he accepts as part of life? Because I know you mentioned something like that in the film, that he just kind of, this is how it is there. Has he gotten a different perspective? Is it the same perspective? Is he just loves them until follow fate? What's his perspective at this point?
Well, at this point, the good news is that the kids have actually been living longer with the introduction of the AIDS medication. The Tamil Nadu, the government provides free medication for the kids, so that those are the pills you see the kids taking in the film. When he first went, and even before he had first gotten there, as he said, kids were like dropping like flies, was kind of what he said. And he came as that was sort of starting to trail off. But the kids aren't out of danger by any means. But the drugs are really affecting their lives in a positive way. So they're living longer. But they can still get immune to the drug and then go on to a second line. And that's always a very dangerous time when a child is switching their medication, because it can just be devastating for their bodies. So there aren't any guarantees, and it's always, I feel like, a risky situation. And I think we see that with Surya. He was a boy that, kind of like in what we were talking about, he was perfectly fine. And then one day it just changed. So that risk is always kind of present, and death is always kind of present. But he hasn't been experiencing death as frequently as when he first went, which is, it's fantastic. But he shares it's a difficult thing. He has anxiety about it, We've had conversations about, specific kids. He's like, I don't know what I'd do if so-and-so died. He's like, I don't think I can handle it. So he thinks about these things and he gets anxiety about it. So,
Because something, because you brought up Surya, he's someone that is focused on during the film. He becomes very sick. He gets nursed back to health. And from the film, I'm trying to remember the line, but basically the doctor's tell Rocky that it's because of you that he came back. And from the film, you get that it was his love, his compassion, his constant intention towards Surya. Do you think that is what's a key component of what's prolonging the children's lives? A little more joy, a little more happiness for someone who loves them and focuses on them. As you mentioned, they're living a little longer. You think that's a key element and something that he personally brought? Because that's what I got from the film, that he brought this love, this sunshine, this light to them.
I can't say for sure. I think his impact, the relationships, what he provides to them is something unique. We've visited other HIV hostels in India, and I can't say for all of them, but there's this. You can tell the difference that he has made on the orphanage. You can see the sense of family, and it is something special. And I think it does give the kids hope. It makes them feel like they belong. It doesn't make them forget their families, especially India. Family is just so special, traditional, and even if a family member would come and treat the kids badly, they would want to be with their families if that was the option. So Rocky doesn't replace their families by any means, but when they're away, if they have to be away from their families, I feel like he's done a really great job of creating family and giving those kids the feeling of commitment. Because what makes a family special is these people won't leave you. They won't abandon you in the worst of your times. And I think Rocky has proven to them that he's there and he's made that commitment. So I think it does really help, and I think it had a major impact on Surya. And I personally feel that, Surya would have died without the care. Just being there firsthand and understanding what was happening, and that's why I shared in the film that from the doctor's perspective, they felt the same thing because they weren't giving that care.
Right. And how is Surya today?
Surya is fully recovered from everything that happened in the film, so he's doing very well. He actually has come to the States. We got him a visa and passport in August, and that was really great. And in general, they actually haven't had a major medical scare within the home since Surya. So things have been going really well.
Oh, fantastic. Just one last question. Because you made a few journeys over there, and wanted to ask, how has all this, the documentary, the journeys, your friendship with Rocky, how has that altered your worldview? Has it changed it? I'm sure it has. Tell me just a little bit about, your change, your personal change.
Mm-hmm. Well, me, I didn't, as I was saying, I didn't connect with what Rocky was doing. I didn't personally have sympathy for the kids. I didn't have sympathy for the situation. And mentally I did. But when I got there, I realized that was actually just an idea, that I didn't really feel anything for them. I told myself I did because I think it made me feel good. Like, oh yeah, I'll send you $100 every now and then. But I didn't really feel or connect with what he was doing. So going and seeing what he was doing and getting connected to that, building relationships with the kids and with the villagers, and it just opened my mind, period, because I had really never been to a developing third world situation or place. So that'll change anyone's perspective. But then, on a deeper level, connecting me to AIDS, connecting me to poverty, connecting me to things that are beyond my, field of view in Pittsburgh. The as you may have known or heard, or all the proceeds, all the filmmaker profits from the film are going to these causes because not just me, but the others that came with us saw the value in them, and in a great way, this is a way of reacting to that and getting connected. And my wife and I have 10-year visas to India, so we'll hopefully be back as much as we can.
Well, Stephen, it was a fantastic film. Thank you for taking the time and giving us a story, and best to Rocky and all the children.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.